Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Fourth and Forever. Real coverage from real fans, brought to you by the Roundtable Sports Network. Richie is currently in traffic on the way back from joint practice of the New York Jets and the New York Giants. Why is he wasting his time over there, TD, where he could be on this show? I think that's another question that we need to ask. But we are very excited to discuss a variety of topics, including James Cook's new contract this morning, a injury scare in the Miami Dolphins side of camp, and then many other storylines as we go into preseason week 2. TD, how's life, man? Talk to me.
Life is great. Beautiful times. Here we are, Fourth and Forever. Some big stuff happening out here. Another day, man. I just love coming and talking ball each and every day. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you show some love to our sponsor, RotoWire. Go set it up now if you're into fantasy football. Big time.
RotoWire indeed. I am going to win my fantasy league due to RotoWire, but more on that later. I did kind of want to start off the episode here because obviously a big scare from your end. And luckily there has been an update, TD. I'm not sure if you saw it from Chop Robinson himself, but pass rusher Chop had to be carted off at joint practice today versus the Detroit Lions. Directly following, Chop ended up hitting his Instagram story and releasing, "I am good, y'all. Nothing serious." Do you know what happened exactly? Why was this even a part of the conversation?
Yeah, it was reported as a shoulder or arm injury, nothing definitive, but they took him in the back, worked on him, and they probably saw it's nothing serious. You just pretty much banged it up, got a little bruised up. So I think it's a case where, hey, just let him sit out a little bit, and then he'll be back eventually. But it ain't gonna be a long-term situation, something short. So that's good news for the Dolphins. Everybody holding their breath, just like, man, we can't catch a break. But he's gonna be okay for the season. At least that's what we believe now with his update.
And so I was about to say, man, like y'all have the absolute worst luck on the face of the planet. And so especially a guy, right? Like, did he have an injury history last year? I forgot if his name
No.
was ever on the injury report.
Not that I recall. Remember, it was Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips that were out for the season. So Chop, he played, and that's why he got some votes for defensive rookie of the year. And he up and coming. And this was the year right here where he needs to take that next step and become one of those solidified pass rushers in the league. So it's good news that it's nothing serious. That way, that can still be the goal.
It can still be the goal indeed. Now, I can say that the depth chart itself obviously does have some holes, things that I'm sure that you wish were to be filled. Are there any murmurs of potential last-minute free agent acquisitions, perhaps a trade, or you haven't heard anything from your end?
No, they're bringing running backs in and things like that, but no free agent acquisitions or trades that are important as of right now. We'll just keep our eye. Greer's good at that, though. Last minute training camp, making a nice little complimentary trade for a starting capable, player in the league. Not a superstar, but a good piece on the starting unit. So we'll see if he has something in his bag that he can reach in and grab out. Time will tell. But outside of that, man, nothing but joint practice with the Lions, and it's not going well either. I mean, we're getting embarrassed.
Really?
So yeah, it was. They
Again?
say like everybody's saying this is the worst practice they've ever seen. Joint practice. All the reporters are saying it's the worst joint practice they've ever seen.
So do we have anything? Okay, so how
both
did the
sides
Lions
of the football?
Okay, so we can take a look at a couple of tweets here from the Dolphin community. And the Dolphins offense just ran 16 or so plays in the red zone versus the Lions. It didn't score until the final play between the second units. Miami's first team offense didn't score in the 7 to 8 plays versus Detroit's first team defense. It was ugly. It's an electric in Allen Park today. Isaac Tesla gets his helmet knocked off while blocking Jack Jones and still goes face to face with him after the play. Crowd loves it. Absolute dog over there in Detroit, apparently. Amon-Ra St. Brown, absolutely unstoppable today. What does this tell you about your team? Does this have some sense of elevation for concern in the secondary? Like, what's the unit getting absolutely exposed today?
Again, no Tyreek, no Waddle.
Okay.
And a few starters on the defense.
So are they injured?
Well, they're coming off of a little knick-knack, so they're being precaution. He don't want to play anybody who's coming from an injury. He
Yeah.
just want to take the risk, and I get that because we need everybody hands on deck. But this first team offense, man, regardless if Tyreek is out there or not, it's not doing well at
So
all.
how's the offensive line looking?
Today they say they struggle. You
Really?
saw some struggle. But again, I just let's look at the offense when it's in its entirety, with Tyreek back. But it's just not good. It's not good. And this is why I try to tell people Tyreek is this offense. I don't know for the life of me why people think Tua is this offense. Tyreek is this offense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that makes it go to a level that makes everything look good in it. So he's needed. So I'm not going to panic until I see us struggle with him on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And we struggled with him on the field last year, with or without Tua. So I just think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Mike McDaniel just been figured out, and the league is now understanding exactly what it takes to defend what Miami's trying to do. And we're just getting more and more behind the eight ball See, we're stuck in a phase of, well, we got to get healthy. Well, we need to run the ball better. As we blind ourselves and focus on just those two elements, which are important elements, I'm not going to discount.
Yeah.
We're also not realizing the league already got it figured out. You're trying to get healthy and establish a run game for something the league already figured out. And we aren't figuring that out. So if we go into the season healthy and we have a run game, they're going to find out the hard way this still isn't enough. And that's what I'm worried about with Miami. And they need to I wanted them to change the offense up with the whole new package, but it looks like more of the same. I'm pretty sure they got a few more wrinkles that they non-joint practices that they work on. But yeah, this isn't good. This is actually starting to feel like it might be panic mode.
Yeah. So we have Tony coming in saying, Dan, that hat is no bueno. Hashtag fraud fish. He's probably talking to my Atlanta Braves hat. I could only assume my boy is a Mets fan, very much like our good friend Richie. Have no fear, man. I'm a casual baseball viewer. All right. And so ironically enough, I did play baseball. Like that was my sport. But yeah, I'm really not as locked into Major League Baseball as I am to the NFL, obviously. So no disrespect. And from what I understand, I guess the Braves suck this year, but is what it is. At least we ended up getting a chip in recent memory. This is always brought up because I regularly hear this where someone says, it's preseason, Dan, nothing to worry about. And I got to tell you what, TD, I actually feel the opposite, especially for teams that are in a shift mode, right? Or that are in sort of a transition period. Maybe I'm not so much concerned to final scores in the preseason. Absolutely. But what I am concerned with is I want to see at least some individual wins. One of the biggest things for a lot of teams, like for example, so the Buffalo Bills' biggest issue last year was a lot of our pass rush, third down defense. If, for example, during training camp or during joint practice or during a preseason game, if my ones are out there or my twos are out there and I do not see a single individual win, that's typically not a good sign for the future when it comes into the regular season. It's typically not. So I think preseason means a bit more when you end up looking at it under a microscope of individual performances and how that they can actually impact said game. So while I wouldn't sound the alarm bells based off of a preseason loss, if you have a joint practice and you literally haven't seen one positive headline come from a position group that you were nervous about, it's not just the preseason, man. It's not just the preseason. I promise you that. TD, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I agree with you. You got to take preseason more serious than people make it out to be. They give you indicators. Okay. You know what you don't need to blow out of proportion and what, it needs attention. But just like in Miami, like what we're seeing, this is 911. I'm starting to feel like this is it'll be hard pressed to find people that's gonna start saying, "Oh, y'all chill out, it's early, this and that." It's just not good what we're seeing. You gotta come to the fight prepared. You have to come to the fight holding your own, even if you lose it. Show that you came to fight. And when you come to and they're ready to fight and you're like trying to make peace and they're just hitting you and you're like, no, just let's make, and they're just like, you don't even defend yourself almost is what it's starting to feel like. That's how much of an advantage, Dan. So I agree with you. Preseason is a lot more important than people try to make it out to be. It tells you a lot of what you need to know. Not the score of the preseason game.
No.
Not all of that stuff. I'm talking about those joint practices. Those are real indicators. Those guys are out there trying to earn a spot.
And so if you see your right guard absolutely getting dominated by a defensive tackle in joint practice, I promise you that that's something you should take home and be concerned about. All right. Especially in the trenches, my friend. If you have a wide receiver that can't create separation for his damn life in practice, it's kind of hard for me to assume that he's just going to wake up and pick it up during the damn regular season. So we'll see what's going on. Guys, I do want to remind everybody right now we have well over 200 of you in the live chat already, 204 to be exact. If you could do us a favor, because obviously what we want to do is make this the largest NFL community on the internet of like-minded individuals talking ball Monday through Friday. Do us a favor, man. Hit that thumbs up sign. That's really what propels this show to the next level. It's not the super chats, although that we do appreciate them.
Get out my spot.
Simply just going on ahead and hitting that thumbs up sign for me. 200 of you are watching. 200 of you should take that millisecond and help us out and carry this and make it one of the best NFL shows on the damn internet. Richie, how was traffic?
The best. Welcome, everybody. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Sorry for my tardiness. Traffic, man. Traffic. It's just New York City traffic,
man.
But it's so worth it, man. Commuting from Long Island to Jersey, I'm never going to complain. Today I was at the Giants training facility for the first time, which is right next to MetLife Stadium. So it's a little closer. The Jets facility is deeper into Jersey, so it's more of a commute. So I was at the Giants training camp today against the Jets, where yesterday I was at the Jets camp. So it was a lot of fun, man, a lot of fun. But shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm back.
So I'm curious about the negotiations when both of those teams were said to be playing at MetLife. Like, what gave the Giants the luxury of having their practice facility right by the stadium compared to the Jets having to be?
Because it was Giant Stadium at first.
It was before.
It was Giant Stadium, and then they tore it down, built MetLife, and then that's when the Jets came on board.
So the Giants had first dibs, basically.
Yeah, like, but the Jets facility, I will say, I mean, I'm not biased, but I'm sure Giants fans would admit the Jets facility is way nicer. Like, it's like crazy how nice the Jets facility is. But yeah, it was a lot of fun though to see the Giants training camp side of things and to be there. I love going to training camp, man. I'm just serious. I love it. I love watching practice. Joint practices is a different energy. Seeing real competition football, man. This is the time of year. August, training camp. It's a great time, man. So what'd I miss?
What did you miss, man? You know what? So I did kind of want to save a little bit of the AFC East news because obviously we have the AFC East Roundtable this evening, but we opened the show with, it sounds like that the Dolphins got away with a potential scary injury with Chop Robinson. He's fine, at least per him and his Instagram story. And then we also ended up hearing that things are not going well for the second joint practice in a row for Miami. It sounds like Detroit is having their way with them on all sides of the football. So, and then afterwards, we were just preaching to everybody in this chat that it's preseason, it doesn't matter, is a lie that people like to tell you to assist with your coping mechanisms going into the 2025 season. That's largely what we were saying.
If your team struggles, it's just preseason. Who cares? Who cares? If they're doing well, it's the same narrative. It's just whatever fits the narrative for TD Finstock. So let me ask TD, because Dan is the one that just said, what, TD? Dan is the one that said the Dolphins are struggling. So I want to hear from you. The Dolphins are not looking good again at joint practice? What? I don't know anything. I've been blind to anything Dolphins related this week. So why don't you inform me?
Yeah, they're struggling bad against non-division teams. Just want to make sure we're clear on that.
So are you concerned?
Yeah, I am. I'm highly concerned.
Oh.
I'm gonna be honest with you. They're scaring me to the point they're making me feel like we're only gonna win 6 games. Obviously all 6 in the division. Let's make sure we're clear on that. But yeah, no, I'm concerned though, because it's just not looking good. Like this is our second joint practice. Chicago was last week and we got embarrassed. And people say, oh well, it was unfair. They were hitting and we weren't. We were trying to honor what we agreed on. But now, hey, both coaches have explicitly said this is what it's going to be, and now they are out there, and we're getting obliterated. And I mean, you got every reporter saying this is the worst joint practice I've ever seen, and then you got people saying either the Miami Dolphins are this terrible or the Lions are just that good. So, no, we're not showing up to the fight. And for those people in the chat, oh, TD, you're overreacting. Y'all tell me that every year. Y'all say that every year. And where's the playoff win? So, yeah, man, it's tough for hearing what I'm hearing right now. But remember, no Tyreek, and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see.
So is Tua struggling? Like, what's the domination? Like, what element of the ball?
The thing with Tua is he's just not flashing. May make a throw here and there, but nothing special, nothing standing out, nothing popping off. Like, oh my gosh, Tua's carving. None of that. Just we're struggling. So,
all right. Well, I mean, is what I've been saying all along starting to creep in your head? Be like, man, maybe Richie right. Maybe Richie might be on the something.
Richie, you would never write or on anything related to the Dolphins.
But I will be right this year about the Dolphins.
Not that, even though we're going to sweep y'all.
See, this is what you prove my point every time, because every time I talk about you when you bring up the Jets, that proves your insecurity about your Dolphins. This has nothing to do with the Jets right now. It's about I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins pending doom. Implosion incoming. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Nothing to do with the Jets.
We don't know, Richie. We don't know.
Well, hey, you know what? It's interesting because this evening we are going to be unpacking all of that in detail on the AFC East Roundtable, which I hope everybody tunes into. Please do us a favor, hit that thumbs up sign, and also introduce yourself in the chat. I'm talking to all the lurkers in here, okay? There's 266 of you watching. I can guarantee you only about 60 of you are participating in the live chat. We want to know what team you're representing, all right? Tell us what team you're representing. I'm curious if we have anybody outside of the AFC East that would be interesting.
And Dan, how do we have 100 likes, but we have 266 people here?
We have 266 guys. Pump that like button number up to about 260. 260 as we speak. Make it happen. As well, for all Patreon members, the call-in line is live and open. Pin comment in the Patreon. As always, say, for example, that you guys want the ability to call into any roundtable show. Patreon is how you do it. Tell you what, biggest piece of news, and I got to tell you, man, I was a little shocked that this happened. I'm not particularly upset about it, but we have our boy James Cook. James Cook, folks, has agreed to terms with the Buffalo Bills, and this was as early as this morning. I had to cut my lift short this morning, guys. All right? I had to sacrifice the gains, drive home, speed away so I can come live and talk to the people. However, James Cook signed a 4-year, $48 million contract extension, which includes $30 million guaranteed. Now, when you look at it in totality, it's sitting at around $12 million per year for AAV. As many of you know, I'm not a big fan of AAV. I think it is largely overlooked because there's so much complexities within a contract where teams can get out if necessary. However, for those of you that did care about it, it's nowhere near how much Saquon Barkley makes. It's nowhere near how much Christian McCaffrey makes. But what makes it very interesting is that his $30 million fully guaranteed puts him at about third place in the NFL. The only players above him are rookie Ashton Genty at $35 million, and then obviously with Saquon Barkley after having the season that he had last year. I got to tell you, man, I was not convinced that Brandon Beane was going to be able to do this, and we're still waiting for some of the specifics of said contract. But I got to tell you what, and guys, let me know if I'm on to something here. Once the specifics of the contract come out, I'm almost convinced that when we look at it, I think there's going to be an out after 2027. And that $30 million guaranteed is just split for next year and the following, which perceivably makes James Cook look like he's making $15 million per year based off of actual funds going into his bank account. And that way, say, for example, Buffalo wants to exit with limited cap implication, he could go out and look for a potential second deal. It's significantly higher than Kyron Williams. I'm curious from outside perspectives, do we think that this was a good deal for James Cook and, more importantly, the Buffalo Bills? Richie, talk to me.
Yeah, it's a great deal. It's finally over. You guys got your best playmaker on your offense, in my opinion. And big shout out to Bills' own AFC for becoming a member of Roundtable Sports. We appreciate it. Go spam those emojis in the chat now that you have access to. But this is big for the Buffalo Bills. This has been the distraction for the Bills all offseason long, and it's been a narrative. It's been a story. But it's all over. Now you can go into the season with no worries in the world and focus on, getting what you really need. Now, Bills fans, they're walking into the season. They're like 5 straight, easy path to the AFC East division, right? That's where their mindsets are. Don't do that, though. We're coming. All right, we're coming. That's all I'm going to say.
You want to know something funny?
But this is good news for the Buffalo Bills. Congratulations.
For sure, man. It's nice to have that drama right off of our shoulders. I also learned something because while I was watching Hard Knocks, I kind of noticed that I feel like it's been pretty boring from a fan's perspective that does not care about the Buffalo Bills. Like, zero drama. I found out that the director of this season is a Buffalo Bills fan. So it makes all the sense in the world. Last night when I was watching, they completely swung and missed on so many opportunities to potentially bury Buffalo with this James Cook situation, paint us in a very terrible light. But again, he continues to swing and miss on a variety of different softballs. But looks like they have nothing else to discuss. And I was curious for anybody that's interested where James Cook ranks among all other running backs in the NFL. Here's a little snapshot for you. Right now, when it comes into total value, James Cook is tied with Josh Jacobs in total value of said contract as he's 25. Average salary, which is the one thing that everybody was very focused on during this debate. He's sitting at around 5, tied for 6th place with Josh Jacobs at $12 million. Practical guarantees, he is 3rd in $30 million, only with Saquon Barkley and Ashton Genty above him. TD, thoughts on this? Was this a good deal for the Buffalo Bills? Was this a good deal for James Cook? Talk to me.
It's a great deal for the Buffalo Bills, and it is an amazing deal for James Cook. He's a vital part of the offense. He did a great job last year helping the team's offense have balance. And this is the guy I honestly, without trolling, think that it was the key that allowed Josh Allen to have his best turnover-free season. As far as helping him get the MVP award, because he took a lot of pressure off of Josh, even though Josh still carried the team overall. At least he had that complimentary player, especially when you can do it on the ground in the run game. It manages the game, it keeps the clock running, and you can stack up wins. And Buffalo had a lot of wins last season. So yeah, man, it was well-deserved. And Josh Allen finally spoke out. Like I told you, he finally spoke out and said, we need our guy. And, hey, here it is. I told you all yesterday the deal will get done. They'll figure it out. He's given a good gesture by showing up to practice, and that's probably because they called him in and said, man, get out there and practice, man. We're going to figure this out. And they got it done.
Of course, Richie thinks it's a great deal because his butt buddy thinks it's a great deal. Fins up.
Who's my butt buddy?
Table. I don't know. I'm assuming it's me.
Well, TD thinks it's a great deal too. So sorry, Christian.
No, it's a great deal. I mean,
who are butt buddies in here? Who are butt buddies in here? You know?
Oh Lord, they going
all
in.
That's the question. Like that's the question. Thank you, Christian. We appreciate that.
All right.
Man.
So Daniel says I need to worry about my own team. So from here on out, I will not speak on any team besides the Jets moving forward.
Thank you. Don't talk about the Dolphins.
Did you get the Tony super chat by chance?
Yeah,
I did. He hates the hat, and so I told him have no fear.
I do hate the hat as well.
So I am a baseball casual. So I suppose that I am a Braves fan. I suppose.
How are the Mets doing?
Great.
Anybody? Are you sure?
TD, stop acting like you know baseball. Don't you dare.
No, I'm just asking. How are they doing, Richie? Are they number one in the division?
No, but we're in the wild card.
Who's number one?
Philly.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Braves are trash. We dominated the Braves last night. Just saying.
Okay.
They do indeed suck, from what I understand. But I mean, when I moved down south from Buffalo, my uncle lives like right outside of Atlanta. He took me to a bunch of Georgia Bulldogs games. He took me to a bunch of Atlanta Braves games. I was very impressionable as a 10 to 11-year-old. So I ended up, hopping on the bandwagon. It was something that passed along the offseason from the NFL. So I get it. And shout out to New Era.
Juan Soto.
Oh, my God.
Dog.
Oh, my God. Well, folks, we have James Cook with a massive contract extension. Breece Hall said something interesting today when asked about what he felt about the Kyron Williams contract and the James Cook contract. And I'll tell you what, a very humble response. I like this from the young man. But then again, I suppose it could add fuel to the fire for speculation. Maybe the Jets are still potentially going to put him on the block and trade him prior to week 1. Who knows? I suppose we'll see. But I loved what he said about this. He said, they've done more than me. They've been in better situations. I feel I'm just as talented as anyone, but those two guys deserve their payday and got what they deserved. Richie, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is not new. He said the same thing earlier. And the best part about Breece Hall, in my opinion, he's very self-aware. He's not one of those guys that's like demanding money, right? His two buddies who got drafted with him, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, they got paid, and he's not upset because Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner proved who they are in this league. Breece Hall will tell you himself, I have not lived up to my own potential. So why would I demand a contract if I haven't even broke out yet? So he's very self-aware. He's not getting traded before week 1, by the way. The only way there is a trade is if it's at the deadline. That's something that you actually have to talk about. Before week 1, that's not happening. The Jets are going to utilize him as a pass catcher, and the Jets got a really good running back room. They really do. It's a really fun unit. Even our undrafted free agent running back from Michigan, Donovan Edwards, looks fantastic. So the Jets got 4 running backs to be excited about. But he's very self-aware. He's not demanding any contract because he's got to prove himself first, and he understands that. So if I'm Breece, it's his motivation to go out there, prove who you are. Go out there and show the world the type of running back you are. Then you'll get paid by the Jets or another team next year.
Dude, you know what? Speaking of New York teams, or speaking of New York legends, if you will, our boy Odell Beckham Jr., all right? Although there is rumors that he retired, he shot those down yesterday. And per Tom Pelissero, the 3-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, has drawn interest from several teams and plans to play somewhere in 2025. Surprisingly, there are still people out there that believe that this guy can play football. All right? There are still people out there that think that he could be an impact on an NFL organization. Why? I have no idea. Maybe they're still focused in on that one-handed grab like 3 centuries ago. But I have ended up pulling up some of his recent production, and since 2020, he has not even sniffed his production toward the first.
Couldn't get 100 yards even on the Dolphins.
100 yards. He only had 18 targets on the Dolphins last year. I forgot. Like, it's just going to be a stain. It's going to be a stain in the overall history, which is absolutely insane. Thoughts on Odell Beckham Jr.? Does he have anything left? What team could you potentially see him going to? I feel like Odell for me, and tell me if I'm off base on this. Why does he look like a Raider to me? Yo,
you're right.
Why does Odell Beckham Jr. look like a Las Vegas Raider to me?
Oh my gosh, he don't got nothing left in no tank, man. The man is injury prone now, and at the end of the day, he's just not the same. But you know what? If he can continue to get on a roster here or there and make some money, and I'm pretty sure he's probably looking for the league minimum, but fully guaranteed, so he can come into camp and be like, "Oh, my ankle." I don't know what's going on, but here's what I'll tell you. It was interesting to me whenever he debunked the retirement, but it's crazy because it's like, just retire. But who am I to tell somebody else, their career is over? But after what happened in Miami, I don't think he got anything left. I just don't.
All right, Richie, thoughts? And could Odell Beckham Jr. make us eat our words this year? And where could you see him landing?
Yeah, I don't see him doing anything positive at all. I think he's a lost cause. No offense to OBJ, but It's time to hang it up, man. I mean, when I saw the news that he was retiring, it made sense, but then it wasn't true. So I was like, oh, I guess he doesn't want to go out like that. I mean, if you're not signed at this point, you're missing training camp. Like, if you were going to be on a team and be impactful, you have to be signed right now. You got to go through the gauntlet of OTAs and training camp. So I can see the Raiders,
It's the Raiders.
But
it's got to be the Raiders, man.
Usually it's the Ravens. He already went through that era. I mean, the last team I would say that would make sense for him to go to die, the Tennessee Titans.
It's the Tennessee Titans, dude. Honestly, like that is the wide receiver retirement home. Like the once elite wide receiver retirement home is the Tennessee Titans. Think of all of the big names in the early 2010s. I guarantee you, at the end of their career, you will see Tennessee Titans in their stat category on ESPN. Julio Jones, for example, D-Hop. I'm missing several more, but Richie is on base with that one, if I could tell you that much. All right, guys, listen, we've talked a little bit about some fantasy football on this channel, and as many of you know, I'm sure many of you have already downloaded RotoWire. If not, what are you doing? Because I guarantee you your friends have, and they are going to wipe the floor with you. Have to get the advantage with RotoWire, because you want to know why we think we know ball, but sometimes we just need somebody to hold our hand through our fantasy football draft. How many of you have gotten absolutely shafted by midseason injuries and your entire fantasy football season is over by week 3, week 4? RotoWire ensures that you are prepared during your stream. Not only can you go on ahead and make sure that you have a specific draft strategy that can be connected to your own fantasy football account, tells you who to draft based off of your preferences, tells you who to avoid in case you're nervous about a defunct offensive line or a massive injury history. This is the thing to do for all of your mock drafts, folks. And as long as you use code RTS, you will get 15% off on this one. A small price to pay for potentially you living in infamy in the fantasy football world that you and your friends have created year after year. Now, I wouldn't recommend telling your friends about it, especially your friends that you're in the league with. So I'm trying to give you the edge on your fantasy football league. If you want to win, and when you do win, let us know, and you can thank us later. All right, schedule that bad boy. Shout out to RotoWire for sponsoring this show. Let's move on. Ben Johnson. I've got to give this guy some credit. Man. He kind of pissed me off when he decided not to put Caleb Williams out there for the first preseason game last week. Because you want to know why, boys? I think that Caleb Williams is still a rookie. He should still be looked at as a rookie. Because the young man was drafted into an absolute travesty of a front office where they had a head coach that should have been fired before he was even selected in the draft that year. And now you look at what Ben Johnson has done with this team. Has completely revamped the offensive line. You're going into year 2 of establishing chemistry with DJ Moore, with Rome Odunze, and you just pop open the tape of damn Caleb Williams last year, and you could tell that man had PTSD every single time he drew a snap because his offensive line was an absolute travesty. That sort of mental block does not go away. I don't care how many big names you added in free agency. I don't care how good it looks on paper. That was some irreversible damage done to that kid's confidence, putting him behind there last year. He needs to gain this confidence right now. And Ben Johnson just announced that he is going to be starting against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night. And I got to tell you, I think this is a very good sign. I'm not so much worried about injuries. I think this kid needs to really solidify himself, get himself comfortable with this brand new system, and show the world and show the city of Chicago that last year was simply just a fluke. Richie, thoughts? Was this a good idea from Ben Johnson to give the nod to Caleb Williams?
Yeah, he should have did it last week. I don't understand why he didn't do it last week. So it's a brand new offense. You got to have real time on the field. For the coaches that don't play their guys in the preseason, those are the coaches that have had the same quarterback and have the same system for years. Let's be frank. Like Josh Allen on the Bills, they don't really need to go out there and play a lot in the preseason. The Jets with Justin Fields, they do.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, they do. Teams that are installing a brand new offense, they absolutely should play. I was shocked that he didn't play last week. I mean, I'm not sitting here going to celebrate, yeah, great. They should have did it last week. I think that's more of a negative that they waited this long. But it's a complex offense. And Caleb Williams said multiple times in interviews, like, yeah, like this offense is hard. I'm getting frustrated learning it. And that comes with it, which is why when people evaluate practice and they like harp on people that struggle in practice, I really have a hard time to believe that people understand what practice is for. Practice is meant to struggle. Practice is so you can learn. And that's why we're so hyper fixated on everything that happens in training camp. When they struggle, everything's going to south and things go well. Things are like, we're going to the Super Bowl, but you got to stay even keel, man. Practice is where you experiment. It's where you install. It's where you struggle so you can get it, worked out by the season. So I think this is great. I'm excited to see what he looks like. It's a very complex offense. I'm expecting the Bears offense to start the season and have flashes, but I think that they're going to become a well-oiled machine by the end of the season, and more specifically next season when they have a year of installing this offense. But I'm excited to see what Chicago looks like on Sunday night. We'll see what he can do.
My expectations for Chicago are sky high this year, but that's besides the point. TD, thoughts? Was this a good move from Ben Johnson?
It was an excellent move. You need to get those guys out there. Everything Richie said was 1,000% correct, which is rare. But yeah, man. But is Josh Allen playing?
That is still left to be determined. If I were to guess, probably not.
Okay, but yeah, he does need to get that work and in front of people, because a lot of speculation that Ben Johnson's just hiding him from the public because he's looked that bad. Well, we get to find out now. So Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams have an opportunity to go out there and prove. No, under Ben Johnson, hey, we're ready to rock and roll, because that's what this team needs to do. The Chicago Bears out of all teams, because that division isn't laying down. I mean, they are at the bottom of the barrel. They have to show that they're in the mix with everybody else. And that starts on Sunday night against the Bills. And I think they can go out and make a good impression. Now, will they? Who knows? But we shall see. But I like the decision to go ahead and play those guys. I feel like it is important and they need it.
It's big time. It is big time over there in Chicago. All right. I can tell you what. I've been going ahead and I've been scrolling through our wonderfully ran Roundtable Sports account over on X. And that's where I'm getting all my news so that we can discuss it live on air. So, guys, obviously, if you haven't, certainly go on ahead and follow us over on X. That is where you get to see all of the news updates, which that we are seeing as they come across our screen almost immediately. Drake made a Stephon Diggs at joint practice with the Minnesota Vikings. Wow, look at Diggs run, man. Come on. Ooh. Steph still have a little bit in him. Does Steph still have a little bit in him, man?
Oh. Why don't you keep going and see the Jets rookie receiver highlight from today's practice? Come on now.
Well, first off, I kind of want to talk a little bit about J.J. McCarthy, because I feel like that topic was not covered not only on this show, but really anywhere. He went 4 for 7, 30 yards. We're still seeing all this J.J. McCarthy clips following all over the internet. Did y'all see anything that looked encouraging from JJ during his first preseason performance, or is it still too early from what you say?
All I know is one of the hardest passes to throw in the NFL. He put it out there, and the guy, went down to catch it, but I loved it. That intermediate out. It's just one of the hardest passes in the game. And that's it. There it is again right there. He did that in the game, in the preseason game, if I'm not mistaken. I'll never forget Tom Brady came to Miami and Antonio Brown was his receiver. And I'll never forget being behind Brady and actually watching him make that pass. It felt like the pass was a 50-yard pass, but on a rope, and how much you had to get it out there. It's just crazy. And it was a dime right out there. I'm telling you, that is the hardest pass to make in the league. But JJ made it. And I think that the kid, man, I don't look at completion percentage. I think he got a little something. But we'll see. It needs to be better than what Sam Darnold has, which is scary because Sam Darnold had such a good season last year. But I'm not even going to say he needs to match that. No, what you need to do is not only match that, but compete at a high level against the good teams. When you go up against the Lions, make sure you're competing. Make sure that you have your team in the game and you're not a reason why they're folding if they are. Make sure you're helping them. Make sure against Green Bay and all of those teams that you're doing your thing. So we'll see. I think JJ's going to be all right, though.
JJ McCarthy, man. JJ McCarthy. See. What is he going to look like? Shedeur Sanders, right? Big time performance week 1. And so I think we can all agree.
Always talking about Shedeur.
And so we all gave him, well, he's continuously in the news, my friend. I have to.
I'm just messing, man.
And so I don't bring this stuff up just to bring it up. But when there's updates, obviously we need to discuss. Cleveland's second depth chart of the summer has Shedeur Sanders, again listed as 4th. They still have Joe Flacco. They still have Kenny Pickett. They still have Dillon Gabriel. And then Shedeur Sanders at the 4th. We did hear that during joint practice today, he was actually intended on getting reps with the ones, but then due to an oblique injury that he suffered while warming up, which is insane, he ended up sitting on the sideline. They saw some viral clip of him talking to Jalen Hurts. Hurts ended up confirming it. As a matter of fact, I think we can actually go on ahead and pull up Roundtable Sports right here and hear what Jalen Hurts had to say about the young man. But while we're listening to Hurts, I'm going to pose a question, and I'm going to let it marinate in your minds. Why is Shedeur Sanders still listed as the 4th QB? What exactly is Cleveland's plan?
Because it's an unofficial depth chart.
Yeah, I keep the conversation intimate. We had a very lengthy conversation. He came to me and just, wanted to talk. And I'm always there, as said earlier, giving my perspective on what I see and how I've gone about things. And ultimately, it takes a great deal of patience and hard work and a sense of resilience. You got to want it. You got to want it. And so I'm supporting him from where I am and wishing him nothing but the best with his opportunities. Yeah, there
it is. There it is. You have a Super Bowl champion right there. And Shedeur Sanders out there potentially picking his brain. I don't know, guys. It's a really weird quarterback room. It's almost unprecedented by how many QBs they have. I'm surprised one of us has not gotten an invite. Okay, so to suit up as QB7, right for the Cleveland Browns at this point.
Yes.
I mean, what do we think's going through Cleveland's mind right now? Because I'm really only seeing two possible options. Number one, they are showcasing him for a trade, because I think we can all agree that out of all of the players that really would bring any sort of trade value or trade compensation, I think Shedeur would probably be it. You're probably not going to get much for Kenny Pickett. You're probably not going to get much for Dillon Gabriel. He's undersized. No one's trading for Joe Flacco. All right. But then number two, they really think that he could be the starter. I don't think that they are going to keep Shedeur Sanders with the intention of making him a QB2. I don't. It's either that he wins this position, or I think that's exactly what Cleveland is doing, is that they are showcasing him to potentially be on the trade market leading up into week 1 for a quarterback-needy team. Perhaps the New Orleans Saints. I don't know. Richie, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I disagree. I don't see the Browns trading him at all. He ain't going nowhere, in my opinion. I don't think they're showcasing him for a trade. They're showcasing him to see if he can play. And if he doesn't win the job, I think that there's nothing wrong with him being a backup, because him not winning the job for week 1 doesn't mean he can go out there and start week 5 or start week 7 or whenever the case may be. I think his name's going to get called eventually this year to be a starter. I just don't know if it's going to be week 1 or not. My prediction is Joe Flacco starts the season week 1. And then you see what Joe Flacco is. He doesn't really have much to work with, so he's going to struggle. And then they're probably going to put Shedeur out there at some point in the season. That's how I look at it. And you can't read too much into the depth chart because they're still unofficial. You still have the unofficial depth charts that's being put out by the communications team. It's not the coaches. It's not Stefanski saying Shedeur is quarterback 4. Those depth charts come out after the rosters are cut down to 53. When you want to see the real depth charts from the coaches, it's when the rosters gets cut from 90 to 53. That's when you can really tell. And it's unfortunate that he tweaked his oblique. I don't know if he's out this weekend because he's obviously been the face of preseason. But yeah, I don't see the Browns trading him for week 1 before week 1 if he's not the quarterback number 1. Unless Shedeur becomes that type of guy. It's like, you don't want to play me, then trade me. I don't know. You can see that happening.
No.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So
did you see him press a reporter?
But like, here's the deal for me: no quarterback on that roster, like no quarterback on that roster screams practice squad to me. Like, not a single one of them. Like, there's no point in keeping either of those guys right on the practice squad, right? Because I could guarantee you, if one of them were listed as the practice squad, they would be picked up immediately, and it would all be for nothing. Now, maybe a Snoop Huntley, who I'm not even sure if he's still on the roster for Cleveland, that's a practice squad guy. But Gabriel's not a practice squad guy. And so I think that we can agree with that. Same thing with Kenny Pickett. He's not a practice squad guy. I think that if they were to put either of those two names in the practice squad, they'd be picked up almost immediately. What the hell are they going to do with the remaining quarterbacks once the season begins? TD.
They could go with 4 quarterbacks to protect themselves. That's also a possibility.
No, I don't think they're going to go.
Come back week 10, like ready to go for a
playoff. Watson's going to come back. That's the crazy
forgot
thing.
Deshaun Watson's on this team.
He's still there.
Have you seen the videos and the update on him? Him working out and stuff?
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. I saw him sprinting on the sideline. I did.
No, that puts a damper in things because he plans on coming back mid-season in that room. I think what's going to end up happening is the Cleveland Browns, they're going to move on from Kenny Pickett. Mm-hmm. They're gonna move on from Kenny Pickett, allow him to go with another team. And if you look at the unofficial depth chart, that, like Richie said, it is unofficial and it doesn't matter because yesterday Shedeur got the most reps out of everybody. That's number one. Number two, Stefanski said it this morning. With the guy still injured, technically, Shedeur probably will start on Saturday. But then right after he said that, Shedeur had the oblique injury. So we got to see if Shedeur is okay or if it's just a, hey, I feel a little something, let me chill out today. So we'll know over the next 2 days, but those guys aren't healthy. Only Huntley's healthy. Outside of the veteran Flacco, but they already know what he's going to give you. All right. So yeah, I think what's going to end up happening, Kenny Pickett is the oddball out. They'll keep Flacco, Dillon, and Shedeur. And we'll see the official depth chart that week leading into the first game, the one that really matters, the one that's released on Tuesday, I believe, before the first game start. So, and they might play games then too, but I'm with Richie. Not only do I think they will start Flacco, but they need to start Flacco. They need to. This team, I'm not one of those individuals. I'm one of those people that say if you're a baller, you ball. But in this situation, I wouldn't put Shedeur out there right away, only because they're already trying to save face with the Dillon Gabriel situation. That is a delicate situation for Cleveland. You drafted the kid 2 rounds sooner, and you know that the other guy you drafted in the 5th round might actually be better. That is a delicate situation, and neither of them do we need to start right away. So go with Flacco as you get more time and let the reporters talk about who's playing well in practice, and then eventually they got to make a decision, but they got time before they do that.
Damn. They have time indeed. I'll tell you what about that Cleveland Browns room. That's something. That is something to think of. Guys, I'm really trying to think of any other trending topics around the league right now that are really tickling my fancy.
This one.
Like, obviously, I would like to save some. Hey, we do have the AFC's roundtable tonight, but
it's just a catch. It's all good,
I'll allow it.
Hey, anybody heard from Sauce Gardner?
Yeah.
No.
Calf soreness.
So calf soreness?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was his wrist from holding, but okay. Calf, okay.
But this is Jets rookie receiver who apparently couldn't catch, by the way, making a play. Not a big deal, but it's just a cool highlight. Just want to show it off because I saw this with my own eyes. It was pretty nice. So shout out to Arian Smith making some plays at Jets camp. That's all I wanted to say.
Who threw the football?
Our backup, Arian Martinez.
Okay.
Tyrod is out.
Tyrod is hurt too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he had a knee procedure. He's out until apparently week 1.
But, so what kind of knee procedure would you need to get done that has that short of a recovery time? Scope?
Yeah, that's scope knee. I mean, he's 35, a lot of wear and tear. But we got the UFL MVP, Arian Martinez, baby, as the backup. And Brady Cook.
Dude,
Yeah, man.
Shout out Martinez.
Arian Smith, though. Don't sleep on it.
So I forgot that he was actually that dude.
I know, man. I mean, come on. If we're going to show highlights on 4th and Forever, I mean, this is the highlight of the day. Look at this catch in traffic, especially the narrative of the guy that can't catch coming out of Georgia. Come on, Dan. You're a Georgia fan.
Sure am, my friend.
The narrative was he couldn't catch.
Arian Smith.
He hasn't had one drop in practice.
Well, let me tell you what, man. I would not be surprised if it was because that Carson Beck was throwing him the football last year, because Miami fans, coming from a Georgia fan, I can assure you this, and Miami Hurricanes fans, Carson Beck is a bum, all right?
Somebody commented on my video today exactly that, Dan.
That's like,
Carson Beck is a bum. It is such a drop-off from Cam Ward, because I have firsthand experience with Carson Beck, my friend, all right? Trust me, he's going to piss you guys off quite a bit, all right? Started off as number 10 in the nation. It's probably going to be about 23 by week 3 and off entirely by week 5. I'm sorry to hear it. All right. Regardless, we have a college football show these days. Right over Roundtable CFB. So highly recommend you guys go check that out. We're live Mondays and Thursdays. We had the first AP poll. We have fall campus all over the place. What's interesting and funny, and like we can go on ahead. It's not particularly a college ball topic, but what people are doing now is that they ended up going through the Oklahoma Sooners starting quarterback's Venmo transactions from 2022, right? Like, people are fucking insane these days. But they found that he paid somebody for quote-unquote sports gambling, right? So people are just like, oh, my God, he's gambling in NCAA, like, regulations. He should be canned or whatnot. But I always try to remind people, back in the early 2010s, one of the best ways to mess with your buddies was to send Venmo transactions with some of the most embarrassing titles on the face of the planet. I'm not sure if you guys ever did that before, but say, for example, I bought like my buddy like some pizza or something, or say, for example, I ended up paying him back for like lunch. What I would do is write a caption that would really embarrass him and say something along the lines of, thanks. Oh, no, sorry, I lost your anal beads, or something like that. Something that would really embarrass the hell out of him on a public platform. So that's what he's saying it is. And now people are pulling up Arch Manning's Venmo transactions, where like he like ended up putting a description with an 8-ball emoji, za, and stuff like that. So people are insane. But that's just a little taste of what's happening over at college football.
College CFB. I mean, Roundtable CFB. Let's do it.
College CFB, man. College CFB. But, folks, that is going to have to do it for another edition of your favorite midday NFL show on the internet. All right. Please do us a favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on bell notifications. And lock in for the AFC East Roundtable later this evening at 6 p.m. Richie, what do you got to say to the audience? Talk to me.
Yeah, guys, go check us out tonight, 6 p.m. EST. We got a lot to get into about what happened week 1. We were saving it all away for this show, so make sure you guys go check it out tonight. It's going to be a banger of an episode, as it always is. So go over there and support us on the AFC East Roundtable tonight at 6 p.m. Even if you're not a Jets, Dolphins, Bills, or Patriots fans, come through. We would love to have you.
Absolutely. TD, what do you got, man?
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Listen, come back tomorrow. Let's talk some more about what's going on in training camp as these joint practices take fold, and all your breaking news right here on 4th and Forever. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button.
Folks, we appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Deuces.